Welcome to the Two Act Podcast, where we talk about anime, TV, cinema. I'm one of your co-hosts, gothjon. Who else am I speaking with?
Hi, I'm your other co-host, Adi.
Well, Adi, we were going to cover Arcane Season 2, but unfortunately, to our dismay, it did not come out in time. Or as I like to say, they did not release the whole damn show by the time we were going to record. So we'll let you know when we cover it. You'll get a little bit of a heads up. Probably, what did you say, November 23rd was that last part comes out? So a little bit after that.
Yeah, that's correct. They've decided to stagger the release, but I guess they want to sustain the hype of the show.
No, what they want to do is sustain the goddamn subscription fee so we forget about it lapse into the next month because it gets so close to December.
Oh, you use Netflix? I didn't know people still use Netflix.
Yeah. I'm definitely using the legal stream. All right. So what we are going to cover is we're going to cover 2009 Redline, directed by Take. Oh gosh, I'm going to try that again. Takeshi Koike. It was his debut feature, and I'm going to go into a little bit of synopsis for Redline. Redline is about pushing it to the limit, full throttle. The story is about a broke-ass criminal named Joshua Punkhead, a.k.a. Sweet JP. The movie starts with JP flying into the lead in a race. His whole car falls apart due to his mechanic rigging his car to explode before he wins the race. And then you kind of like get like a good like jump into what the movie's going to be about. It's the animation, even in Yellow Line, is just insane, truly on display. Adi, what do you think about Redline?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was the perfect midnight, pulpy, adrenaline-fueled racing movie, wacky space race movie, and I was definitely in awe of the animation and the visual. The visual style was incredible. I mean, of course, you got some interesting facts about that,
Yep.
but like I was blown away by how well choreographed everything was, and the animation is top tier. The color grading is amazing, and I definitely enjoyed it more on a visual level than I did on a narrative level. I feel like the plot isn't it's like the plot kind of takes a backseat, but it didn't affect my experience of watching this. I could definitely tell that it just felt like a cult classic by the end of it.
Yeah, this is definitely an anime movie. Like if you're going to recommend to somebody, it'll be definitely somebody that's watched a couple of different animes, because I don't know if they'll exactly appreciate it. They'll think all animes are this well drawn or this is crazy. Like as we're going into like the facts you mentioned, a well-known fact about this anime is it was in production for 7 years, had over 100,000 hand-drawn frames with absolutely no CGI. The hand-drawn frames really show you every speck of sweat and blood flying off the characters' faces, and every frame is screaming with vibrant colors.
It's incredible.
It's breathtaking.
Absolutely. I think it's a marvelous achievement in on a technical scale. I just couldn't help but like every frame you pause is a frame you can hang on a wall, and it is cinematic and really you're really seeing a crazy storyboard come to life, and the detail behind not just the cars, but also each characters are so uniquely crafted. You really feel like each of them have been given the care and attention to be unique. I really liked Machine Head.
Yep.
I thought he was the fact that he was a character who was cybernetically upgraded and was his own car. Stuff like that was really rich, and it was the opening scene I really enjoyed. So the whole story begins in Yellow Line, the race, and that was just an impressive opening few minutes to start the film.
Yep, it really gets you like trapped in there, really engaged. The I guess the film takes some like influence from like an old ass PlayStation game called Wipeout, which was a huge influence for the concept of the film. Which I didn't even know. I didn't even think about Wipeout. You know, it's an old PlayStation game I played. There's like you said earlier, like the narrative does take a backseat. Like I'm not. Who cares about the narrative? I'm here for the spectacle. I'm here for the amazing soundtrack. You know, just the bumps. The sound design is excellent, along with the most stylistic soundtrack to go along with it. What'd you think about the soundtrack, the music?
So the sound is, for me, it substitutes a lot for the plot. Just hearing the engines rev up, the incredible, the foley, the noises, the bumps, the crashes, the incredible techno soundtrack, which is, it's scored with like synths, loads of bass and electric guitars, and I think that really accompanies the adrenaline, and the pumping nature of the film and the characters. Like the opening scene itself is, you're dropping straight, you're going 0 to 100 in milliseconds, and it creates such a impressive impact on the viewer. And I was like, there's so much going on. I couldn't even like. There were times where I couldn't focus. Like there's so much happening in the frames. It's like I need to slow this thing down in order to like
Play it on
fully
like
absorb.
0.5 speed.
Yeah, probably, but that would be doing a disservice to the pacing. But I feel like, interestingly, like even though the pacing's actually, it's a lean, 1 hour 42-minute film. It's not over long by any means. But I felt like when the scenes don't involve racing, that's when I was more like kind of drawn out from it a bit. Then whenever there's racing involved in this film, I'm hooked. There's absolutely no way I'm batting an eye and looking the other way. You have my full soul attention. But some of the off the track stuff needed a lot of work, and I think, like, I like the characters. I like that they have such funny names like Frisbee,
His mechanic.
His mechanic. You got the mole, old man mole. You got Sonashi, who is like his rival, turns into her love interest.
She's
that
so
bit. She's really attractive, and I really like how like her color scale is like pink and green, and she's got this crab like car, which is insane, and she goes in the water and she hovers over. So it's pretty fucking cool. Like, hats off to these guys. Hats off to these guys for like the design they put in. I think like you can tell like they really cared about making sure everything was detailed and everything. It didn't feel generic. It didn't feel like fucking AI replicating background. I think that is, it earns my respect for that. And if this was because I can see the craftsmanship is so meticulously done and detailed and drawn, I have a lot of respect for it than if it was just something else where they use CGI or whatever. It would have just been, it would just made it look average. Even the color scheme, it pops. It kind of reminded me of, like, I felt like I was watching a retro vintage sort of show while I was growing up. I can't remember.
That you say that. Some of the secondhand keyframes were done by Studio Gainax, which is known for Neon Genesis Evangelion, Fooly Cooly, Tenkatoppa Gurren Lagann. A lot of those shows
Makes
that are from like
sense.
The late 80s into the early 90s. It really does show, it's
unique because you don't see anime like that today.
No. This came out 2009, 2010. Nobody is taking that time to draw every frame. There's a lot of CGI used, a lot of sometimes it looks awful, like it's like freaking uh, Berserk, that 3D animation that
Oh, that
everyone makes fun of.
yeah,
Or you'll
yeah,
have something like Attack on Titan where it's like it's like serviceable, like it's okay. Or you'll get something like really jarring where it completely changes the animation style when you're in the 3D and you're like, what is going on? And you're not sure if like your brain is playing a trick on you because it looks so off-putting.
yeah. That's the
Uh,
worst when it transitions. I think
mhm.
a lot of the modern shonens still have that problem. They try to
Yeah.
mix 2D, 3D, and it's not
Even
always
shows I
seamless.
like. Yeah, like there's a show called Mushoku Tensei where like the animals are CG and you're like, what is going on? Like it looks so good, and then you see the CG animal just mucking it up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I mean, and in this film, you've got such different species of aliens,
Mm-hmm.
oceanic creatures, and like fucking robots, and
Yep.
it's like a
Yeah.
weird mix.
Yeah. There's only like two humans in like the whole cast, and that's Sonoshi and JP.
No, even they're not humans. They're not fully humans.
They're
They're
not
like
fully human.
no, no. In fact, there's like two other characters. I think they're called uh Todoroki.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the
Because
racers, they're all
JP is
named
like,
after their Japanese voice actors' names. Like they're all like a spinoff. I was like looking at the
all
names.
right.
I was like, what the hell?
Because like Sonoshi is like a hybrid
Mm,
human, half ocean creature
okay.
character, and
Hmm.
even JP is an entirely human. I mean, you can see that he's got like long elfish years, but I guess he's the most human
Mhm.
looking. Are JP and Sonoshi. So, but yeah, that crazy ass pompadour. That thing's long.
Yeah,
Kind of reminded me of
it,
Space Dandy right there.
oh yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. That's probably where Space Dandy gets the entire idea to do that. No, in fact, spoilers for Redline. You should watch it. Uh, that pompadour is what wins him the damn race.
Literally wins it by a hair and
By his big ass
gives
hair.
gives him the head start he needed.
Yeah, it's kind of like Johnny Bravo, like type goofy ass hair.
It is, and the way he keeps like flicking his knife, and then turns out
Oh
it's a
yeah, it's a
comb.
comb. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of kids that got suspended from high school that I was at that they had combs like that. And I'm like, they're so cool.
Wow, I don't
Yep.
think I've ever seen anyone with a comb in public. I think that trend died out.
No, we're just not that cool. Uh, I really like that that second race at Redline. It takes place on Robo World where they're like cyborg guys. They're a bunch of like a cyborg fascists, and they're all upset because Redline's gonna race at their planet, and they don't care. And so the racers not only have to race against each other, and in Redline there are no rules, so they're killing each other with like rockets and shit. And then the military of the planet, Robo World, are also fighting them to win the race.
Yeah, yeah, that's the second big subplot, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's one of those plots. It's just like it's on the wayside. Who cares? I'm here for this wacky ass race. I want to see all these crazy characters do their best, like uh, freaking Star Wars impression with the pod racers.
Yeah, yeah. No, I guess I couldn't. I was definitely more invested in the angle of him racing a fixed rigged race because
Okay.
his mechanic works with the mafia who racketeers the whole purpose of these races are there's a huge betting market, uh illegal scheme of alien underworld creatures are betting on these races, and he's part of it. Turns out his mechanics fixed the race for him, and he needs to boost his odds by being in the last place and then
Go into
towards the
first.
towards the final quarter. Go first and then drop the race to second. And I guess that was the whole thing about his his whole purpose. Like he wants to race, he wants to win, but he needs to pay off his debts, I believe, or else he goes back to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but the Robo World, in comparison, the Robo World stuff, I could not care about much. I felt like that bit was kind of over the top,
Oh
and
yeah. It was very in your face.
like I don't know why these guys are so butthurt about a race being taking place in their planet. Like, I guess it's
better
something to do with like
question-
military.
Yeah. They're all Nazi wannabes. The better question is, why are all the Robo guys? Why are they all like drawn to be very phallic? Why are they all very like one of the guys is like his literal head design is like a dick, like his corporal. I'm just like, what is this?
Yeah.
What the fuck am I watching?
They even got like these freaking bootlegged Nazi looking symbols on their jackets.
Yeah.
So it's totally modeled after them.
Mhm.
And yeah, they're just so over the top, and it's I was like, whatever, like all of that bit. I feel like they could have like made better antagonists, but like I said, I'm sure like anyone who watched it was definitely more paying attention to the race than all these obstacle courses, because that's what they are. They're just an obstacle course.
Now we're gonna race on the minefield.
Get a kaiju up.
Oh yeah. The fucking kaiju. Did you like the name of the kaiju?
Funky Boy. Yeah, I like the names.
Boy.
I love the names. I thought the names are really cool. I love the names you got like what, Colonel Wolton, that's like the bad guy who merges with the kaiju after they kill it the first time.
Yeah, they take like a gigantic like death laser, like it's like the Death Star, and they like at first the racers sabotaged their like power center, so it didn't fire the first time when they landed on the planet to start the race. But then they get it up and running because Funky Boy gets out of his cage, and he's a biological weapon. Wakes from his slumber. The president of Robo World shoots the damn death beam at Funky Boy, and the racers of the military on the ground are the most collateral damage. The racers and them, and then Funky Boy's not even dead. He just regenerates, and then the military has to release their kaiju monster.
I just thought it was like a bit underwhelming how they neutralize it so easily, because they realize, oh no, we don't want to like reveal to the world like this is our secret bioweapon, but at the same time, like, fuck, we're being humiliated here because these guys don't give a shit, so let it out. And then they're like, oh no, this is way out of control, we're gonna Death Star the shit to the ground. And then they're like, oh, we gotta get it back up again because
at 20 minutes you gotta wait.
It would be nice to have seen the chaos it could have caused and the ramifications of that to the entire race if it was just there rather than
in the race. One of the racers.
Yeah, like they should have just like let it. No, not racers, but like they should have just let it be and like do its own thing there and like
just fuck off.
Destroy everything and let them race.
Let them race.
I can create the track as it.
So I was gonna ask, did you watch the dub or the sub?
I watched the dub. Yeah,
guilty like me. Yeah, I had way too much things to pay attention to.
Exactly,
I was not gonna read subtitles.
No, it was as Deadpool says, it was an educated wish. To watch the dub because I just feel like when I looked it up, I just thought visually there's just too much quality for me to keep my eyes away. And I mean, nothing against the sub. I'm sure the sub is great, but I just feel like I wanted to pay more attention to the visuals than. I don't think the dialogue is that important. End of the day, in this film, it's not a dialogue-driven film. It's a visual-driven film. It's a crazy ass storyboard coming to life, and a lot of that is, the dialogue for me is in the visuals. If you don't pay attention, you lose out on a lot of cool details. Like, there's nice little snippets here and there if you're not paying attention. I think there's one of them is it really adds to the, you know, because it suffers on a narrative level with the plot, but what it does, it adds a lot to the world and to this idea that this is this intergalactic universe with creatures. And I think after the Yellow Line race, there's this snippet of like a household of like aliens, and there's this woman who's, I'm assuming, like, the wife of this family, the mother of the family, and she's like, violence is the only thing I get off on anymore.
Yeah.
And snippets like that, which were after seeing the Yellow Line race, it was snippets like that that made it fun and made me appreciate, the effort they tried to put in on the visuals, and like they couldn't. The story, unfortunately, could have been better. I would have preferred if they could have like developed the relationship between Frisbee and JP a bit more, because it seems like they have a really unique past. They share a bond of like, there's like a father-son like relationship. You can see there's a bit of that explored through flashbacks, but again, it's so brief that you blink, you miss it. So they really tried their best to compensate visually by packing in the story that they couldn't fix in the script. But that I appreciate. And I think you give it another watch, you definitely pick it up.
Yeah. This is my second, third, fourth watch. In the dub, I recognize some of the voices. Michelle Rolfe plays Sonashi, and she does Rukia in Bleach. And I believe JP he does a character in Bleach as well. So I was like, I recognize these voices.
It's good to know that they were established, because the voice work was good from the main cast.
Even like the machine guy too. I recognize his voice. I was just like, okay, I know all these voices. I watch a lot of dubs.
Yeah, I mean, this came out in 2010.
This came out roughly around the time that the greatest anime ever came out, Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt.
Oh, it's an anime I've not yet seen, but
maybe I'll talk you into watching it someday. But I don't know how that discussion would even go.
You piqued my interest. Greatest anime. Okay, greatest anime. I gotta definitely explore this.
Yeah. Okay. Explore. Okay. Maybe we'll put an asterisk on that. Gothjon's greatest anime.
Too late. You already made the claim. It's too late.
Too late. And
I'm gonna go to my anime list, and I'm gonna kick this stupid Frerin or whatever you call it out of the list and put Panty and Stocking Garter Belt on number 1.
The amount of outrage there would be. People love that Frerin. It's so slow and so character driven. You're just like, okay. Well, it's whatever the flavor of the month is. That's what Mal's top 10 is. It's whatever.
Yeah.
They get to the number 1 slot. For a brief second, there was a borderline hentai that was number 1, and that was Interspecies Reviewers.
Wow.
Like, what the fuck? Yeah, going back to Redline. No, this is not the greatest anime movie of all time. That wasn't what I was looking for. I was looking for a funky race, and that's what we get. We get bumping tunes. I'm blasting the soundtrack on my Spotify playlist, like Yellow Line. It's a 7-minute track, and you might get pulled over listening to it. That's how good it is.
Yeah, it's great. The Yellow Line track really created an impression. I like a lot of the Yellow Line stuff. Yeah, I thought that really stood out for me.
Yeah, I was grooving to it. Like, I was physically dancing in my chair listening to it. I was cranking it up, hearing all the high octane sounds, and it's like,
yeah,
I'm bobbing.
I also like so what happens is, like, once the yellow line race is completed, and he nearly kills himself because he needs to crash and not finish first. And then a racer drops out, and then he's eligible to compete in Redline, which obviously will take place in Robo World. And what's interesting is like they go there, and I love the bit where there's this infomercial scene in the middle that gives you like an insight to every competing racer. And I really enjoyed that bit. It was like watching like space TV. Like, you know, if you were like Rick and Morty does this a lot. Like if you were watching TV and
cable.
Exactly, like what would that be like? And
It'd be awesome.
I liked how they created infomercials for each, like an introduction for each character, and they're like, oh, this is him, and you know they're interviewing Machine Head, and he's sitting with his cute little puppy, and you know he's talking about his car, which is basically his body. That bit was nice, but the bit that I kind of didn't like, or I'd rather say didn't feel earned, was the romance between JP and Sonashi. I just thought it was like it was just too tacked on, kind of straightforward, maybe not earned.
It was
flashbacks,
convenience because she had that jewel, the blue jewel that makes you go nitro.
Yeah, that was definitely planted in, and I could see that from a mile away. they were gonna
somehow
use
he was
that.
he was gonna get it.
He was gonna get it some way or the other. I mean, the flashbacks, it turns out she is like the main inspiration for him to be a racer, because he watched her when they were young racing as a kid, and she was really resilient when she crashed, and something happened in that moment that kind of inspired him to do this. And when you first see them, they're like, that first scene is when they meet in that restaurant, which is kind of like an aquarium.
Oh yeah, when they're on the moon that's next to Redline.
Yeah,
Robo World,
yeah. And then they get like sabotaged because they get attacked on by the Robo World.
Military.
Military.
And then, freaking JP's mouthing off.
I just felt like the flashbacks between them was kind of straightforward, but it wasn't as bad as the cheesy "I love you" Hollywood ending it had. That I didn't like. So I didn't like that it ended on them like kissing each other and saying "I love you" to each other. I mean, it's unnecessary. Could have been worse, true, but it was unnecessary. There's no need to do that.
I've watched a lot of anime in my day, and that is by far not the worst ending that could have happened. The worst ending that could have happened is before the race ends, they just stop it. And then they do
that would make no sense.
Continued, and then and then a project gets announced and then gets canceled.
Ooh, that would be brutal. Well, if you spend 7 years on it, it's a pretty bold move to add
blue balls you would have
to be continued title card at the end. I think these guys they knew they were in too deep, and they were like, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna do whatever we like. Just go overboard. Because apparently I read this bankrupted Madhouse, the studio. So it had a budget of $30 million to make, and it only ended up grossing like $8 million at the box office, which is a commercial failure because it didn't obviously earn back. And it got so bad that Studio Madhouse got acquired by another company, which is how it saved itself in bankruptcy. But the guy who led Studio Madhouse now, I think he's the CEO of MAPPA, and a lot of the animators left Madhouse and they joined and created MAPPA, which obviously is one of the best anime studios working today. Chainsaw Man and so many big animes are made by Mappa. But I thought that was an interesting fact to read.
Okay.
I didn't know it was so bad that it led to bankruptcy.
The damn production company. Yeah, I didn't know that either. In fact, I always thought this was like critical success.
No. It was a huge
it's just
failure.
because I didn't watch it in the theater. I watched it streaming.
I would have fucking loved to see this in IMAX.
That would be amazing. You get those crazy ass speakers. Oh
yeah, on the huge IMAX screen. That'd be
pretty fucking.
That'd be
awesome.
a trip. Yeah, for sure.
I'd be just hyped in the theater.
It would just look glorious. Like every hand drawn frame. It was just that's how you really need to watch it. Like that. This needs to be experienced in that scale.
Right.
But I don't know what the love is for this film. I mean, it is considered a cult. People will. I do think over the years it's only going to be looked at in a more positive light, and they're going to look at it. And I think it's the last hand drawn anime film made to date. So that says a lot about its legacy.
Right. Completely. No bullshit. No CGI.
Yeah. No CGI, completely hand-drawn.
3D animation, none of that. 100,000 frames.
That's why it took them 7 years.
Right. And then they had to get freaking Gainax to key animate the other part of it. Yeah, this anime, this anime movie is unapologetic, even in like the climax where you got JP and Sonoshi crossing the damn finish line in the most goofy ass way without a car, running on their feet. It's just like, okay.
Some bits that stood out, which are fucking goofy, but I'm willing to overlook. There's that bit where he uses the car as like a stone that.
Yeah. When you throw it on the water, where he's skipping because he's spinning so much.
All that, and his hair is perfect. There's not a single hair out of place.
Yeah, he has that special space gel.
It defies all laws of physics.
Imagine how long his hair is without the pompadour.
Oh, it's as long as the road. If you look at the poster.
You're right. His pompadour is as long as the road.
Yeah, no, it's the characterization's cool. What I liked about JP was when you see him first. Now the whole intro, he's fucking intense, and you're looking at his, the G-force is so crazy with the nitro that the pod that he puts in that gives him that nitro boost in the yellow line race. You can see his eyes are on the verge of bleeding out. Like there's blood, like his jaw is like being held back, and you can see like blood coming out because of the G-force. And then you see him in the hospital bed, and he's kind of like, he comes across as like this rugged, really battle-hardened protagonist. But then turns out he's actually a soft guy. He's pretty nice. Exactly, and that's why they call him Sweet JP. So he plays a kind of against the type character, the way they design JP, which I found interesting because it makes him charming, makes him likable. It doesn't come across as a dick or because quite often characters who are competitive are either too cocky or he is cocky. It's not like he's not, because he's risking his life recklessly. But there's a nice guy charm to him, which was different than what you'd normally expect.
Yeah, what I expected was like a self-insert, very bland, Mary Sue type of individual that can do no wrong and is perfect in every way. And that's definitely not what JP is. He's definitely putting his life on the line. He's helping rig some games that he necessarily knows that he shouldn't, but he just caught up in all that.
Isn't it interesting how like they literally air it on TV that he's been caught
Rigging it?
for
rigging
it?
Yeah,
They're still letting him race anyways.
That's kind of funny, yeah.
Oh, what did you think about the bit where they gave him? So this is what I found funny. So they were preparing him for Redline. They were like, okay, I need an extra nitro boost. So instead of 2 gold capsules, I need a third one, and they give him a third one.
No, it was a fourth one. He could do 3.
And he could do 3, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they give him that extra one, but he never uses it because he ends up using Sonashi's
nitro.
Yeah. So a few things like that got lost in the action a bit. But yeah, I thought it was funny how they air him being caught for being, being in a rigged race, but they still let him race. And a lot of it, like the track just like builds as they go along, right?
Yep. And the finish line's on top of a tower.
Yeah,
because of course it is. And then the damn ship that they all came up on comes underneath and deploys like the road as it like you drive on the ship.
Yeah.
Unapologetic. We know.
Yeah, it's completely. It's so. I think they're aware that they're a bit hyperbolic with its style, but it's not a problem.
No,
as long as they're consistent with it, it works.
Yep.
Yes, it's not like they just do it to pull off the win at the end. You're seeing it like, okay, like that's how it works. Their race cars are a bit crazy, and they withstand some insane. They have some insane endurance, but. Yeah,
and the whole time I'm going, now this is pod racing. Yeah, this is one of my favorite movies for sure for anime. It's a different flavor.
It's a different flavor, and what got me thinking was like it didn't feel like a film that came out in 2010. It feels like a film that belongs in that 90s 80s pantheon of like classic anime films that really made an impression and are still to this date considered to be like the hallmark into anime.
Well, they started working on it in the early 2000s, so it definitely shows.
Exactly. Yeah, that kind of makes sense, the fact that it did begin that early, and that makes me think, how consistent were they with the story? Because 7 years is a long time to develop a story, and in 7 years you are bound to change things whether you like it or not, because things evolve, technology can evolve, or some things can change. In this case, they were committed to hand drawing it. But it does make me wonder, like, did the story change at any point?
Right.
Because maybe, because maybe if they had like different plans for it, where the story was a bit more consistent with the racing stuff, maybe it could have been a different movie. But I kind of wish this was like, I like it as a movie. Don't get me wrong. I think it absolutely deserves that cinematic scale and platform to be viewed. But I would have also enjoyed it as a series, just because the characters are so rich. They're so unique. They're so quirky. I would have loved to see the development between Frisbee and JP.
It's funny you say that. The prelude to this film, they made a short, like an OVA It was about that. You remember that furry character and that like he kind of looked like a turtle, the red turtle guy. Those racers are the same characters in their short. They made like something like it's kind of like to like advertise like the what the project that they're working on. They use the same exact characters, same exact names, and it came out in 2003. It was a short OVA, which just means that it wasn't like run on TV.
Yeah, the direct release. But no, I had no idea.
Yep. Yeah, I recently found that out too. I was kind of surprised.
Did you watch it?
Nope, I didn't have enough time.
Right. Yeah. No. I just think that it could have, if it was, obviously the big advantage of a TV series is like you can let the characters breathe. You can give more context. We get to know them a bit more, and the relationship can feel a bit more earned. That's why it's a lot harder to achieve in like 1.5 hour. When your whole sell is the racing bit, that's where people want to watch the racing. We don't want to watch like.
Only imagine how much time it would have took to hand drawn like 6 or 12 episodes. I can only imagine how long it would have took them.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's practical to hand draw like 6-7 episodes. I think they would have.
It looks
it's an artistic choice for them. There was no look. There's no necessity to hand draw this film. They didn't have to do it. They could have just animated it with technology, right? Akira was completely hand drawn. And that was made in the 80s, and that's insane. That's a crazy achievement in its own right, because the technology didn't exist then. But I'm pretty sure 2010, like a decade ago, nearly, we still have
almost a decade and a half.
A decade and a half. Technology still existed. Still a lot of good anime. So I think what happens here is like, they were committed. They made an artistic choice for it to be hand drawn, and the sort of the takeaway from that is the trade off of that is that you kind of suffer on other ends, because so much of resources and time go into the technical bits.
Yep.
And if the script had a bit more attention as well, maybe it could have been even more engaging. But that's not to say that bothered me like a crazy level. I still absolutely enjoyed, and I appreciate visually, like this is something like my eyes would be drawn to watching, regardless of whether it even had dialogue or not. Like, even if this film had no dialogue, it was just them racing, I'd watch it.
Yeah, I would too. It's really hard to not give your undivided attention when the racing is not happening. It's sakuga. It's definitely it's art. Not to sound very pompous, but yeah, no, this is art.
It is, yeah, it is. I just wish.
Speaking of art, I know you noticed those big old titties that were in the middle of the movie. I know you noticed that.
What made you want to ask me that?
I was thinking about it because when this came out, so there's not a lot of nudity in mainstream anime, like at all, unless it's a movie, because you can't air that on normal TV. Because there's elementary school kids, and I know Japan isn't as is prude and reserved as America, or maybe
progressive.
Yeah, progressive, conservative. I guess that's a better word for it. Like, I know in Europe, titties are on the TV all the time. Who cares? But at least some parts of Europe, definitely France, they don't care. You show that in Japan, they do get crazy about censorship on violence. Like they'll show like black bars, like just on anime. They're just like, nope, it's too much blood. At least they don't go as far as China does and turn it all blue or white or whatever crazy ass color they want to choose. But
I guess
no,
I guess
it
that's the
was
benefit of making it a film, isn't it?
yeah. No, it was even like those frames. They were very well drawn, and she was
Are you talking
basically
about
looking
the?
like a Barbie.
Are you talking about her tits?
Yeah, talking about her tits. They're perfect.
They were. They were. I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to sound like a fucking
Gross.
weirdo, but no, they were very nice, but
They
they
were
were
very
also
nice. Put that on the
completely.
poster. They were very nice.
It was also completely unnecessary. Like, there's
Yeah,
no
no.
need for
No,
that.
there
Look, it
wasn't.
needs to be earned, right? You can't just have it there because you
Just
can.
chilling. Just
Yeah.
chilling. No
I
shirt on,
mean,
just hanging out
or
watching
maybe
TV.
maybe I'm not. Maybe I can't speak for it because I'm not a woman, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if like everyone's different, right? People like to chill in their own way.
Yeah.
I think she says she looks at her bit in the infomercial and she says, "Oh, nice shot of my ass, guys." While they're like, which I mean, that just shows like these guys are fucking creeps because they've got a close up of her ass while they're
Hell
talking
yeah.
about her car, and then she's saying that naked with her tits out. So it's kind of ironic, isn't it? Like,
A little bit.
um,
Nice shot of my ass, guys.
I just thought it was like there's no necessity for that, but
No,
I didn't
no.
have a problem with it. It's like, hey, I'm not gonna complain. I'm not gonna complain about that.
Yeah, I just thought I'd bring it up just because why not? Let's get demonetized. Oh wait, we were not monetized. This is ad free.
Oh yeah, we can say whatever the fuck we want. I mean, pretty sure some people won't talk about such things, but I can talk about anything, whatever
Sorry,
you
mom.
want to.
Wait, your mom listens to this?
No, but I thought she was really pretty.
Mhm.
I thought she was really attractive, which hurts because it's like so many of these anime characters are like so fucking cool, or the female characters are so badass and good looking. It's like, yeah, it kind of really makes you want to be in that world, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would want to hang out with all the crazy ass aliens. That'd be great.
Yeah, the
I want
crazy
to.
lady when he's like fighting over a pack of cigarettes.
Oh yeah. No, that was insane. You're like, what
And
is
then
going
and then
on
she's
this
going to
planet?
like and then she's going to like bet on him.
Yeah. Yep. Why not?
Like, that's what I mean. It's like tiny moments like that they show, which is like, that character is a side character. You only see her 'cause she's selling cigarettes to him.
Maybe for 2 minutes.
Exactly. But then they show her again when the race is on and she's trying to
Yep.
go and like bet on him. And I think moments like that they did well, like
Mhm.
making characters stand out in small ways, even though it's a bit irreverent. But yeah, I just wish like the main connection, like the main story between Frisbee and JP.
JP.
Yeah, I wish like I thought the bit I could see that he was gonna abandon the instruction to
Yeah.
not win the race. That was
Must see him win.
predictable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No, I agree.
that was predictable. It would have been nice if there was more of a connection established between the two because
Well,
I feel like
he
they
needed that to win the race.
yeah he did.
It was all
Um,
a part of the plan.
the mafia bit was yeah, it kind of had this 90s feel to it.
Yeah.
And then you got that old mole guy with his gun. I thought it was pretty cool. His gun was shooting bullets out of a screwdriver. I'd never seen anything like that.
Stylistic for sure.
Yeah, loads of style.
Mhm.
Aesthetically really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Even the
Would you
cars were
say
nice.
all style, no substance? Or all style, little substance?
Yeah, I'd say little substance, little substance,
Yeah, I could see that.
but uh, but it's like it's not a deal breaker
Right.
because
I don't. Yeah, I agree.
so much of what you're seeing is so exhilarating and insane. Come on, I mean, if we can watch fucking superhero movies with capes flying, why can't we
Right.
watch
With
a guy with a crazy hairdo?
Transformers
A guy
Transformers
with
fight where you don't know who the bad guy and the good guy is because the CGI ball of mess.
precisely, yeah.
Yeah. We could watch the pump. Yeah,
Bring
like you're saying, like the guy with the weird ass hairdo go on a race and cheese it at the end and win
yeah,
by running into the finish line without a
gets
car.
he defies physics. He gets the girl
Yeah.
he wants. He wins
Yeah.
the race, and he's fucking cool.
It's pretty awesome. All right. Do
Could
you have
dig
anything
that.
else to say about Redline before we go into ratings?
I just want to. I mean, I just want to like really, really say that regardless of ratings or
Yeah.
a review, like I just feel like people need to appreciate the craftsmanship
Yeah, I
behind
agree.
the animation of this film because it is a triumph. It's an achievement, and uh, you know, we may probably never see a hand-drawn anime film ever again. Uh, you know, technology is moving so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't gonna spend time going old school in traditional ways. So for that reason, this is still a contemporary film,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that needs to be applauded. There, even though unfortunately the film didn't financially do well, I still think it's great that you picked to talk about this film because it
Yeah.
deserves every bit of attention and respect it can earn.
Mhm.
Absolutely is a cult classic in my opinion.
No, I agree. All right. So that being said, I'm ready to go into ratings. So I will lead the charge. And um, I rewatched this a couple times, so I've had different ratings. First one I gave it, I think probably like a 7 or something, or an 8. I was just like really into the music. There are very few things I dislike about this movie. During this rewatch, I feel that I'll go against my word and just give it straight up a 10. Fuck you, guys that say that this is a bad movie. The animation and the soundtrack blend very well, very nicely. Watching Redline is an experience, and I hope you have no distractions watching this work of art. The original tagline when this film was being shown around was "Witness the future of animation," which honestly 14 years ago I wish was the standard, but unfortunately is not. It really stands out all these years later, and I stand by my rating. Um, I, I don't think you will give it a 10, but that's how I feel.
Our ratings, I mean, don't really matter, do
They're
they? We're just
subjective.
they're subjective. We're just rating things because we're giving our perspective to it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes reviewing films interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with your say that it's a shame that this is not the future of animation. I wish it was. Why can't we figure out a way to like animate hand drawn again in a
Right.
way that is facilitated with technology? I mean, I'm sure it could be done, but then again, everything's time's money, right? That's what it is. It's very rare unless like you're a big filmmaker who's doing a passion project or whatever. Could spend 20,
Megalopolis.
which flopped. No, but I don't want to talk about that. I just think that I like this movie a lot. I I don't I don't have a crazy problem with it on a narrative level. Like I said, it's simple, it's serviceable. But I'm not watching it for the story. I'm watching it for like the race, the visuals and the soundtrack is great. I'll give it a 7. But me, I think this is a cult classic, and I only think like people are gonna look back on this film like 20, 30 years from now, and they're gonna regard it in a very high light, higher than I think you're like ahead of the curve here for giving it a 10, because people are gonna look back on it and they're gonna say this is a fucking 10, because you know what? Who knows what the state of animation and animes are gonna be with fucking AI and all this.
It's all gonna be a bunch of ads.
It could be all crap generative shit that comes out. So for that reason, I think I'm giving it a 7 today, but I'll give it a 10 in the future.
All right, I'll meet you there when we get to that 10. So that being said, did you have a recommendation for next time?
Yeah, so while we're still waiting for Arcane to come out,
damn it,
because we just can't wait to get started on that. In the meanwhile, we're gonna review a film that's kind of gone under the radar. It's called A Different Man. It's an A24 film, and it stars Sebastian Stan and Adam Pearson. Just to give you a synopsis, aspiring actor Edward undergoes a radical medical procedure to drastically transform his appearance. But his new dream face quickly turns into a nightmare as he loses out on the role he was born to play and becomes obsessed with reclaiming what he lost. So I just think it'll be an interesting film to talk about. It's kind of a surreal, unsettling psychological thriller with elements of horror and comedy
vibes.
You are right in that. I think we're gonna have a very interesting comparison conversation about this and the substance.
All right, we'll do a whole thing about it.
But I promise you, they're not the same.
Okay. I'm not going into this expecting to have my pants blown off.
No. Well, you never know. Actually, there's some pretty crazy shit in this as well.
I'll keep an open mind.
Keep an open mind. I think you'll be surprised by some of the things you watch and read about it. So, yeah,
going in blind.
Go in blind. That's the best way to experience it.
All right. Do you have anything else to say about that? Are we ready to end this bad boy?
No, that's about it.
Hell yeah. See you, Space Cowboy.
See ya.